Hey, it's Andrew Bradbury, team lead of Tropicoders. This is the Milestone 2 update for Atoll Tale. So we've been working pretty hard since the last milestone, and after the playtest especially. A lot of changes have been made to gameplay as well as to the art as well. In terms of art, since that's sort of my domain as a 3D artist, the player now has some props, a shovel that they pick up at the beginning of the level, and a pogo stick that they pick up later when they unlock the jump. There's interactable objects around the level, so treasure chests when you dig up treasure spots, shovable blocks that you push around, and breakable blocks. There's also environment pieces like the treasure spot that I mentioned earlier, and whenever you dig with the shovel, the spot has a dug up spot, sort of a hole art piece, and there is a block out for the enemy, which we have received concept art for. Looking back on this sort of milestone, there's been a good number of changes from some scope, bringing it down a notch and shifting deadlines around pretty much across the board to accommodate with our change in scope and ideas. So we really want to basically get this one level perfected and not worry about so many mechanics that we had before. It's also, since I'm sort of a novice 3D artist, it's my first time handing off a 3D model that has to be animated to somebody else. So, that caused some problems that resulted in the player needing to be fixed up a little bit before we can move on with the rig. So that's been done. And of course, playtesting has been huge in helping us find what sort of the flaws of their game was that we sort of brushed over as just part of the development cycle. Oh, yeah, they should be fine. They should work out. But in reality, players just either didn't like them or they felt it was awkward. So I think we've made a lot of good quality of life changes that players at our next milestone will appreciate.
Hello, my name is Franklin, and I am the level designer for Atoll Tale. What I did this milestone was mostly refining the parts of the level that already existed. The first playtest was very valuable to us because it showed us as a team what the major flaws in the games were. The most glaring flaw, in my opinion, was the camera angle and how it felt to navigate through the level. To remedy this, we changed the camera, and then I spent time within the game engine trying different layouts of the level, seeing what worked and what didn't. What my intentions were with this redesign was to maintain the original feel of the level that I had going, taking that feeling and applying it to a layout that better suited the camera and player movement. That's what we have here today. I also made strides in designing the next sections of the level, which will be done before the next playtest, and with the lessons learned from designing the first sections, I have high hopes that it will go smoothly.
Hello, this is Chloe from the Atoll Tale team. As for rigging for this milestone, well, as we've discussed, there are a lot of setbacks just with scheduling, time management, and problems with the geometry that we have since sorted out. There were issues with clothing layering, so we had to fix that for a better weight paint on the rig and just better weighting in general, because there was a lot of clipping issues with the corset in particular that we had to fix with geometry edits. Beyond that, Andrew and I have set up work times so that we can both get back on track for our schedule in terms of 3D assets and animation assets. So look forward to that in the future.
Hello, I'm Zelvin Kazanjian, and I'm the lead programmer for Atoll Tale. And in this milestone, um, I implemented a jump mechanic, which is a power up, and originally implemented it with restricted movement, so the player could not move while they were jumping. Um, and after playtest feedback, we implemented uh, jumping with movement, so the player can now freely move around when they jump. Um, and hopefully this gives players a better feel when they're using this mechanic. I also added enemies with projectiles, and they also face the direction the player is moving. and the players can actually get stunned now by the projectiles and damage because there is a health system in place. Um, and there's actually a checkpoint system in place too, so once the player gets hit 3 times, they get reset to the last checkpoint. I had already previously gone to that checkpoint, so that is technically the last checkpoint that I hit. And it actually resets all the blocks that I had moved up until that point as well. And I also implemented breakable rocks, so the enemy can shoot a rock here and break it. And the player can also dig on tiles or treasure tiles to get a treasure chest, and they can interact with it to collect gold. And the dig mechanic was also refactored after playtesting so that the player now digs one tile in front of them, and they also center on the tile that is right next to the tile they're trying to dig on. So as you can see here, the player will dig one tile in front of them and center on the tile behind it. The shove mechanic was also refactored a little bit. It is much faster now, and the player will actually center. Oh, never mind. They don't do that. That was for the push-pull mechanic. Um, and we also updated the camera angle, so now it is higher up, so hopefully things are easier to see for the player. And this is also based on playtest feedback. We changed some key bindings around as well. And yeah, there was a push-pull mechanic that we tried to implement, but it ended up being very time-consuming, and would have taken a lot of programming time to complete. So we decided to axe it and instead refactor the shove to have a charge shove, which will be in by the next playtest. That's it. Thank you.